toss, have elected to receive. Steve Christie tees the ball up deep for the Pack. Alan Rossum and Gary Berry. Warm, humid day here in western New York. And we are underway. Little miscommunication back there, but Rossum takes it at the goal line. And he is swarmed under inside the 15. And the Packers offense will start backed up. Led by Brett Favre. Green Bay just managed 211 yards last week as Favre makes his 127th consecutive start. That is an NFL record. Up front, Mike Wall, Verba, Winters, Rivera, and Earl Dotson, despite the sore back, gets the call. Amon Green and William Henderson in the backfield. Antonio Freeman, Bill Schrader are the receivers, and Tyrone Davis opens up at tight end. First down and 10. Green stuffed in the backfield. Marcellus Wiley with a big play as the Bills defense, ranked #1 in the NFL last year, kicked it off good last week against Tennessee with 4 sacks. Wiley, Washington, and Hansen up front. The linebackers, a good group. Keith Newman and Sam Rogers on the outside. Holisek and Cowart in the middle. And the secondary, Ken Irvin, Keon Carpenter, the veteran Henry Jones, and Antoine Winfield, all 5'9" of them at the other corner spot. Give the Packers 1 yard on first, 2nd and 9. Green with a seam, and he'll get a first down.
Those are the kind of 2nd and long situations the Packers wanted to stay out of. They stayed in those all game last week against the Jets. But the key is the ability to run the football. And that's one of the things that Mike Sherman said we have to do better. And I thought it was interesting what Brett Favre said about running the football. You know, we got to show people the run and the run action. It helps us in our pass game later on.
You see Coach Mike Sherman was Seattle's offensive coordinator last year. And now there's timeout on the field as a possible injury situation. Somebody's bent over in that huddle. Can't tell you who it is
looks
from
like
this
that,
angle.
Looks like that might be Earl Dotson. And, you know, Dotson was really questionable as whether he was going to play or not. He had that back problem, injured the back, and
well, he had surgery. He had a disc problem that he dealt with all last year. Had surgery in the off season, and it's still apparently bothering him this year. So replacing Dotson in the depth chart is Mark Tauscher.
It's clearly back. When the guy's bent over like that, he can hardly get off the field.
And they were worried about that coming in. There was talk earlier in the week about whether or not Dotson would be able to even play this game.
You know, and that's one thing that Brett Favre doesn't need is another weapon lost. He's already got Dorsey Levens out. Corey Bradford's not in. And now you start to deplete the weapons in the offensive line.
Mark Tauscher replaces Dotson. Tauscher, a rookie out of Wisconsin, 7th round draft pick. 1st and 10, Favre under center. 3-step drop, pulls it down, and he is tackled by Ted Washington at the line of scrimmage.
And we talked about Ted Washington in the open. Ted is just a big, strong force in the middle. I do mean big. He's listed at 330 pounds. That's give or take 70 pounds. But you got to credit that. You know, Brett trying to go to the quick game, the 3-step. Good job on the corners. And that's good awareness by the nose tackle there. Washington coming up and making the play.
Not a sack as Favre gained a yard on the play. 2nd down and 9. That's Tyrone Davis, the tight end, in the backfield. Play action, and they dump it off to Davis. Davis is upended by Antoine Winfield after a gain of 7.
How about Antoine Winfield? You know, they give this reputation for corners that they're not great tacklers. Antoine Winfield, 5'9", 180. He is a very good tackler. This is just good awareness coming up. He's going against a 260-pound tight end here in Tyrone Davis.
He's so little. We talked to him about his tackling ability. He said, I'm down low, and that's where you want to tackle him. So that's what he's always done.
Well, what he does, he stops the source. He doesn't try to fight with those bigger guys up by their chest.
3rd down and 1. Green, stuffed. Washington's in there. Keith Newman's in there. and the Bills hold in the Packers' first possession.
You're going to have a hard time running in the middle of the field against the Buffalo Bills. Look down here inside. Ted Washington holds the point. In a 34 defense, if he doesn't hold the point, because everybody else in that defense is on a string to him, if he doesn't hold the point, the run will be successful. He gave no ground to Frank Winters, the center, and are able to stop the run.
So Bidwell comes on to punt it deep to Chris Watson. Bidwell, 36.3 average last week, but his net was 36.3. No returns against him. He hangs it high. And he does again. Fair catch called by, and Watson gets bumped, and there's a flag down as the ball bounces inside the 15 of Buffalo. Scott McGarrahan was the man running down there.
That's one of two things. Either it's a clip or they didn't give the returner a chance to catch the football.
I think it's probably going to be interference with the fair catch because Watson was clearly bumped. Now the question is, was he blocked into it?
I'm pretty sure he was blocked into him.
There's no foul on the play. The kicking team player was pushed into the receiver.
Yeah,
first down.
The kicking team player was pushed into the receiver.
Referee Walt Coleman.
Donovan Greer. Yeah, he gave him a little.
Cool zone fans trying to cool off the Buffalo Bills on the sideline. An unseasonably warm day here in Orchard Park as you see Earl Dotson, who re-injured his back, will not return to today's game. And as you said, around 2 plays, he was out.
Yeah, when you're back, you start to have those spasms. I don't care how strong you are, you got to take a seat.
On 1st and 10, Johnson looks downfield, looking for Molds, incomplete. Take a look at that Buffalo Bills offense. Rang up 266 yards in the opener. Rob Johnson knocked out of that game, making his 10th career start. Bills are pretty good in his last 5. Up front, John Fina, Reuben Brown, Jerry Ostrowski, Jamie Nails, and Robert Hicks along the offensive line. Antoine Smith and Sheldon Jackson in the backfield. Molds and Price, 2 excellent young receivers, and Jay Remersma is the tight end. 2nd down and 10 to the ground. Up to the 20-yard line. Sammy Morris with the carry, brought down by Vonnie Holiday. Packers defense had trouble against the Jets last week, allowing 379 yards. That group up front, Theory, Dotson, Russell Maryland over from the Raiders, and Vonnie Holiday, who made that last tackle. Niall Diggs, Bernardo Harris, and Nate Wayne are the linebackers. Secondary, Tyrone Williams, Darren Sharper, Leroy Butler, and Antoine Edwards, who's getting the start for the injured Mike McKenzie. 3rd down and 5. Johnson connects over the middle of Price. 1st down, Bills. Tackle on the play by Tyrone Williams. But Buffalo converts.
First thing that Coach Wade Phillips talked about when we walked in the meeting the other day is we can't have a letdown. You know, the atmosphere here last week was championship at least. Everybody was into it. We have to carry that emotion over into this game. And that's a good way to start it.
Price in motion across the set. Johnson whips it outside. This one is complete to Price again. Excuse me, Molds.
You notice Rob Johnson, quick drop back, 3-step drop, and the ball's out. He got killed last week against the Tennessee Titans. The blitz was all over him. The pressure was all over him as they take Earl Dotson off the field. And granted, they do have a guy named Javon Curse who can put the heat on anybody, but protection was a #1 priority for the Bills offensive line coming into this game. Rob Johnson also coming off an injury in that game, can't take the same kind of hits.
Antoine Smith in the lineup. His first carry goes for negative yardage. He is brought down immediately by David Bowens.
They got 3, Walt.
Green Bay, for some reason, they are really concerned about the Bills running game. And the Bills were able to do some running last week, but that is their main issue. And I think that has a lot to do with the way Curtis Martin ran through them last week. I really question some of the techniques they were playing in the defensive line. But they know this week they've got the work cut out for them. They've got to get after the Bills running game and get after the quarterback.
Third down and 4. Johnson pump fakes. Now he'll scramble. He was the leading rusher last week. Picks up the first down. Had 6 carries, 60 yards last week. Gained 7 on his first run here today.
Rob Johnson wanted to go to the out over here, but there's a great bump and run coverage on the outside there, and he couldn't get it done. And this is what Rob Johnson does very well. He's not known for it, but he's a pretty good scrambler. Now his thing is he's got to learn to get out of bounds and not take the hits. That's where his mistake has been. He likes to take on linebackers every now and then.
Yeah, he's too tough for his own good sometimes.
Coming that way. Coming that way.
Fake to Smith. No, Smith has the ball, and penetration from Diggs, and another loss of a yard or 2 in the Bills running game.
That's just great penetration there. Nailed Diggs getting in on the play. We're trying to run the cutback. That's just a good job of staying home by Diggs.
The penetration from Theory forced that cutback.
Theory is really the only guy you see showing up on the film. Like I said, we questioned some of the techniques used, but Theory was getting down the line last week, and that enables the linebackers to get involved in the play.
Smith and Jackson in the backfield. Rob Johnson back to throw. He'll be sacked by John Theory.
And
right
we
on
talked
cue.
about it. And it's interesting because John Theory is actually playing with a piece of loose cartilage in his knee. It's been bothering him through training camp, and he said, you know what? I got a job to do. Just knocks Fina out of the way. He said the one thing he had to do against Fina is to get his feet moving upfield and come underneath. Johnson looking for Molds. He's got nothing working over there on Antoine Edwards. He's a backup safety coming down, having to start at corner for the injury to McKenzie.
Johnson goes to the shotgun on 3rd and 16. No one open again. Now downfield. Great catch over on the sideline by McDaniel.
Wow. That's a huge catch.
Jeremy McDaniel. First down, Buffalo.
And you got to give a lot of credit to Rob Johnson for getting out of the pocket and keeping the play alive. Watch the catch here. I don't know if he got that other foot down. One.
Almost skipped the toe,
Yeah,
but
I think he
it's hard
skipped
to
the
tell.
toe. I think they give him credit for skipping that left toe in.
You know, one knee equals 2 feet. I think John Madden wrote a book along those lines. He did get the knee in.
He got the knee in.
Play action on 1st and 10. Johnson being chased again.
Let him up, let him up, let him up, let him up.
Now he'll be tackled from behind. Coming after him is Vonnie Holliday.
The Packers are forcing Johnson out of the pocket because they're max dropping, meaning they're just rushing 3 guys and dropping everybody else. They're going to put the pressure on him to make a play.
It was actually Russell Maryland that tracked him down. But the Packers' coverage is excellent. Several times already, Johnson just hasn't been able to get the ball out. As you look at Ed Donatel, defensive coordinator for Green Bay. 11th play of the drive, 2nd and 8 from the Packer 38. And Johnson didn't get it off in time.
Now, he tried to make a change, and he made that change late.
Delay. Offense. 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
You saw a picture of Ed Donatel, the Green Bay Packer defensive coordinator, a few plays ago. And, you know, the whole scheme right now for Green Bay, they're trying to be that attack team. Donatel is defensive backs coach with the Denver Broncos last year, and that's what they use. You know, everything was coming upfield. And I don't know if the Packers had that last week, but it looks here so far like they're getting used to that. They've kind of got a feel for that.
Molds motions out of the backfield on 2nd and long. And they zip it out to Eric Molds. And a lot of running, but no gain.
There you go. There's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Attacking and speed around the football. One thing they said they didn't do last week very well against the Jets was get bodies around the ball. They got bodies around the ball those last 2 plays.
bodies of Tyrone Williams and Russell Maryland, to be specific. So it brings up a 3rd and 14. Bills already 6.5 minutes on this drive. Blitz.
There's Leroy Butler.
Butler with the sack. Second time Brad Johnson's been sacked.
Leroy Butler told us last night, we are going to straight out get after him. No more of this wait and seeing and playing cautious. And this is a switch. When's the last time you see Leroy Butler up in there like this? This goes back to the days in '96 when they were coming up field all the time. I like that.
The old Fritz Schirmer days.
That's the old Fritz Schirmer days. And the thing about it is Buffalo leaves in max protection. Bryson, 38, misses the pickup.
Chris Moore on for his first punt. Alan Rossum lets this one go, and it bounces into the end zone for a touchback. A 51-yard kick for Moore, but the Packers will take it on their own 20 when we come back. Tennessee last week, already sacked twice here this afternoon, the Bills' first drive, and he is the most sacked quarterback as you look at the graphic in their first 200 attempts.
You know what was good about that drive, even though they end up turning it over on a punt, is that they kept Brett Favre on the sideline there for about 7 minutes. You know, regardless of whether he's got his weapons or not, you still want to keep a guy like that off the football field.
Trying to ice Favre and his arm.
Literally.
Favre not an auspicious, in fact it was inauspicious opening day last weekend at Lambeau Field. Trying to redeem himself here today. 1st and 10, Green Bay from their own 20-yard line. Play action. Favre over the middle to Schrader, complete, first down, Green Bay up to the 34-yard line.
Yeah, it's funny talking to Brett yesterday. He said I was a little tentative to throw certain routes. I really don't like to let it go and throw the ball downfield. And you read that in the press clippings, but the Buffalo Bills staff didn't believe that, and that's why. Because when showtime comes up, this guy will let the ball fly. In fact, he said last week he had one throw to Freeman down the seam. He said that was the best throw I've ever made. And this is from a guy who supposedly has a sore arm.
Reverse by the Packers. Here comes Freeman, and he is tracked down by Sam Cowart. Let's go back and take a look at that throw that you were just referring to, Ron, that Favre said is probably the best throw in his career.
And think about this. This is a seam throw. This ball is supposed to be gone before the receiver's 19, 20-yard range. I believe Freeman was about the 30-yard range. And said he came to the sidelines, and Danny Werfel looked at him and said, I've never seen anything like that before in my life. And he said, I bet you haven't, son. That is the Grand Masters. He didn't get those 3 MVPs in a row for just eating a lot of Cracker Jacks.
Green around to the left side. He'll be run out of bounds by Sam Cowart.
Now that's twice you see Sam Cowart. And in order to make a 34 defense work, because you've only got 3 down linemen, those 4 linebackers have to be able to haul tail, and that's what they can do. He plays that weak inside linebacker. He's the run guy. He's got to find the ball, and there he is.
Cowart, a third-year man out of Florida State. 3rd down and 3. The Packers 0 for 1 on 3rd down tries today. Freeman in motion. Penalty on the play as Favre dumps it over the middle to Freeman, complete. And there is another flag out now as the Packers, if the play were to stand, pick up the 1st down on a gain of 13.
That's going to be on Ahman Green. He picked his hand up in the backfield.
There's also one in that secondary that came out later, and we'll leave it to our referee today, Walt Coleman, to sort it out. Holding on the Bills, motion on the Packers.
We talked in the open about the mistakes on Green Bay's side. Both teams have had the problems with penalties the last game.
Holding, 27, defense, an illegal shift, offense, 2 men moving and not resetting, penalties offset, repeat 3rd down.
Kenny Irvin was the man guilty of the holding for the Buffalo Bills.
27 working up. They're trying to jam. They know the Packer receivers have had trouble with the jam. I don't know about all that. I've seen much worse than that. And now you got 3 guys moving at the same time. Freeman's moving. Amon Green picked his hand up. Somebody's got to be set.
They'll redo it. 3rd and 3. Favre on the check down to Schrader. He's going to be stopped short of the first down by Henry Jones.
Okay.
So the Bills defense holds again.
Saw Brett there just rubbing that arm. You know, he said he'll do that. He'll rub that arm just almost by habit from being sore for so long. But he said it's really not bothering him when he does that.
Josh Bidwell out for his second punt of the day. The first one went 58 yards. Watson back at his 15 to return. Another high hanging kick. Watson from the 11. Trying to get outside, and he can't get outside. He's wrestled out of bounds by Niall Diggs. And Buffalo will start backed up with their second possession. We're in Orchard Park, New York. Minute 18 left in the first quarter. Brett Favre on the hotline to offensive coordinator Tom Rossley.
Yeah, I think he's on the hotline to Dorsey Levens.
Come back,
Dorsey. To tell them to get right, because you know those 3rd and short plays. Those are a matter of just being tight in your game plan and execution.
And Favre said, hey, we want to be in 3rd and short situations, and
that's what they
got in them, but they didn't convert in the first 2.
They didn't convert them because of penalties and mistakes.
1st and 10 Bills from their own 9. Play action. Johnson going downfield looking for Moulds. Oh, by Moulds. What a grab. A one-handed snag by Moulds for 41 yards.
It's clear that they're trying to work on Antoine Edwards. They're going to check him out. It's just a go route, and this is excellent coverage by Edwards. He just underthrows the football, and Edwards doesn't make an adjustment. There's nothing you can do there.
That's an unbelievable
sometimes
catch.
Guys are going to make plays like that, and that's why Eric Moulds is a receiver in this offense that they need to try to push the ball to more, because he is a big-time impact player, and that's an impact catch.
1st and 10 after the 42-yard hookup. Fullback Sammy Morris tries to cut it outside, and he gets wrapped up. Tyrone Williams along with Sharper make the tackle.
The Packer defensive backs this game will have to come up and tackle.
Go home, and hey, my brother made it.
Yeah, somebody needs to talk to your brother about those bad sideburns he's got going.
Well, check out the numbers for the Buffalo Bills offense here. Eric Moulds, the leading receiver, 3 for 49, and they wanted to get the ball more to Moulds. Moulds wanted the ball more, and he was frustrated this week.
Yeah, and it's clear that they're making an attempt to get him the ball more. 2 shots up deep right there on Antoine Edwards.
Johnson dumps it over the middle for Price, incomplete.
You can see the Packers defensive line. They're starting to get some heat. I am really impressed with Theory. And John Theory spent all that time in Chicago and then went to Cleveland. Got a flag down. Reuben Brown, Nate Wayne talking about something. He's really come here and
holding 79 offense.
That's why Reuben was talking.
Repeat 2nd down.
I think that there's Theory working right there on Brown. Brown's just going to go ahead and grab that arm. That's a nice slick move there. I like that.
Theory got up point and said, hey, you can't do that.
But Theory said when he hurt his knee in training camp, they told him you had the cartilage floating around in there, and you can take it out right now. You'll be down for about 4 to 6 weeks with a scope, orthoscopic surgery. He said, no way. I came here to play. This is my chance.
Just wanted to win, he said.
He said, I want to win.
I liked John Theory. When we got to talk, he said he's just an old country boy from the swamp down there in Opelousas, Louisiana. 2nd and 18 for Buffalo. Johnson rolling to the right. He'll run again. Forced out of bounds after a gain of 6. Late hit over there. Nate Wayne.
I'm surprised they didn't get a flag on that one.
Nate Wayne knocked Johnson up under the Packers bench. No flag, though.
Wow.
Johnson on the keeper.
Once again, Rob Johnson out of the pocket strictly because of the rush. It's funny, nobody really tried to catch him as he's getting out. That's gray area. You know how that works.
Todd McBride got a little shot in. Brings up 3rd down and 11 now for the Bills, just past midfield. Blitz comes again from the Packers. Johnson gets it outside. Incomplete, looking for Peerless Price, but Leroy Butler was up in Johnson's grill again.
And this is where Leroy Butler's game is best. That time they disguise the blitz. He comes late and gets right in Rob Johnson's face. There he is. He came from the half position. Bryson once again has to pick. It doesn't matter. Whoever picks, he's wrong. Because there's a guy in your face like that, there's no clear shot of the throwing lane. And that's the kind of football that Leroy Butler plays best. You know, this team has really had to retool with Reggie White not there. It's affecting that blitz. He got up around the head a little bit, and you know, the league just suspended one defensive back. Carrier with the Washington Redskins.
That was definitely a shot to the face, and Butler got away with that as Chris Moore's punt is short but high, and Rossum will let it bounce, and it bounces back towards the 25-yard line. That's where the Packers will take over possession of the football. No pressure last week against the Jets, no sacks at all, but they've gotten it going here today. 2 sacks, 3 pressures, and a knockdown on Brad Johnson.
And it's all about 2 guys. John Theory, you saw him there with the sack. Now they're bringing the blitz. They're attacking. They're going after the quarterback, and that's exactly what they should have done last week against Vinny Testaverde.
So the Pack takes over on their own 27-yard line. Green and Henderson in the backfield. Amon Green picks up 7 on 1st down. Brought down by Cowart and Winfield.
That's nice body lean there by Amon Green. Amon Green, biggest problem he's got to correct is that fumbleitis he's got going. You know, he complained about the wet jersey and all that. Well, that's not going to get it. You got to hold on to the rock in this league. Buffalo had, we talked about Pat Williams in the game. He was in that play. He got penetration, but Green was able to step over it.
Fumbles the snap. Henderson jumps on it.
Okay.
And Green Bay retains possession. Heads up play by William Henderson.
Brett Favre was trying to get a little quick count going there.
Recovered by William Henderson. Loss of 1 on the play. 3rd and 3.
Looked like Favre pulled out.
He pulled out just a little bit too soon. You can see the force at which that snap comes up. I don't think people realize that a snap is really a tough thing. I mean, that ball comes up there hard and fast, and you got to be ready to take it and go.
That's a violent collision, and the other part of it is Brett Favre re-injured his thumb last week, and that could be part of the problem. 3rd and 3. Packers looking to convert. Caught over on the sideline by Charles Lee.
You want to talk about a confidence catch? Charles Lee dropped 2 balls. One was a for sure touchdown. He needed that catch.
Working on Donovan Greer.
Donovan Greer on the outside. Great coverage. You get a little push off there. You see that? But he got down. He got that knee down. I said earlier, one knee was 2 feet.
And Lee, the rookie, using the veteran push-off move.
Very good.
Out of Central Florida. Packers, 1st down. Collision in the backfield between Green and Favre.
And this is what Brett Favre was talking about last night. You know, when Dorsey Levens is in the game, I know where he's going to be. And there's some, you know, a lot of times we have that nonverbal communication thing going on.
That's a big hit.
I can't say for sure whose fault that was, being that one guy's won 3 MVPs and the other guy hasn't. I'm going to go with the guy that hasn't for being the mistake maker there.
Little Keystone Cop action in the Packer backfield.
Talked about Brett Favre not having the weapons, and there's a perfect indication of it there. It doesn't always show up in productivity down the field, but little things like that could kill you.
Favre dumps it over the middle to his tight end, Bubba Franks. We'll then bring up a 3rd down and 8 now for the Packers. The situation Favre said they didn't really want to be in.
They don't want to be in it because one thing that the Bills do good in this 34 defense, they bump and run. The corners play tight. The Packers have had trouble getting off the bump and run. And when you've only got one guy to be concerned about, Antonio Freeman, it makes it hard. Your options are limited.
Freeman and Schrader line up to the top. Lee down to the bottom. Barr, plenty of time, dumps it over the middle. Caught by Green, but he'll be short. Sam Cowart makes another tackle. Packers will have to punt again.
Talking about the bump and run, here's what happens here. This cuts off the field for Brett Favre. I mean, when the receiver is trying to adjust his face mask 15 yards down the field,
that's a good bump.
He's going to have a hard time getting open. And all it does is make him pull it down, go backside, and waste time.
Bidwell on for his third kick. Chris Watson with the fair catch, and he makes that at the 16-yard line. Welcome back to Ralph Wilson Stadium as the Bills and the Packers scoreless here in the second quarter. Buffalo with the ball on their own 16, 1st and 10. Bryson in the backfield. He'll try to cut back, nothing there.
Okay, man, it's over. Hey, it's
Middle
over,
of that
it's over.
Packer line led by Cledius Hunt make the play. Coming up next, it's the second part of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. You'll see Marshall Faulk and the Rams looking to run past Ricky Waters and the Seattle Seahawks or other regional action. We want to call special attention to those of you in Tampa Bay and Buffalo who for the first time will get a bonus late game. So be sure to make it a full day of NFL action coming up next on Fox. And what the NFL has done is actually lifted. It used to be where if you had a home game, you wouldn't get the second game in that market. Well, now you're going to. If you get the sellout, you'll get that second game, little bonus coverage. So you get to sit back and watch football all day long. Not a bad deal.
Yeah, but this isn't a good deal for the Packers. That was John Theory, a little slow to get up. As we look at Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator for the Bills, looking over those old Polaroids.
Theory making his way off the field. In to replace him, David Bowens, second-year man out of Western Illinois. See if we can see what happened to Theory.
He's just working down the line. And it's hard to see there, but we said earlier, this is a man that's got a little piece of cartilage floating around his knee. I'd take my hat off to him. That's one tough guy that can keep playing on something like that. He said it'll lock up on him every now and then. He's trying to win football games.
2nd and 9, nowhere for Johnson to throw. Good coverage again. He's got room to run. And Johnson gets the first down before he's forced out of bounds.
Great coverage down the field by the Packers secondary. Rob Johnson is going to pull a hamstring running out of the pocket this game. Watch the secondary here. Watch the way you got a full drop here. They drop 3 linebackers. You got 4 defensive backs. Everybody is in pocket. He's got no place to throw the ball. Peerless Price taken care of. Antoine Edwards over there. Great job there.
Wayne just locked up Collins.
Nate Wayne all over. That's backside.
Still, the Bills get the first down on the legs of Johnson. Now they go to the legs of Bryson, and Bryson scoots his way up close to another. In fact, it is another first down for the Bills, a gain of 11.
Sean Bryson was a guy that last year had a knee injury, didn't play, and everybody at training camp kept telling me, this is the kid that needs to get the ball. And you have Antoine Smith there, but Bryson has the explosion. He's got the power. Whenever I've seen him play, he's played well.
Came out of Tennessee where he was a roommate of Peerless Price. Johnson changing the play from the line of scrimmage. Checks to the run. Smith caught by Theory in the backfield.
John Theory is on fire. He is making all the plays in the defensive line. And last game, he did one thing that was great. That's chase plays down the line. And he does it here. You know, you ask yourself, where was this player in Chicago? Where was that speed? And he said, well, I don't know. We asked him the last. I said, I don't know. But all I know is that I feel it now. And he's got a hurt knee. a resurrection right there.
2nd and 13. Johnson throws it quick inside to McDaniel. He makes the grab. He'll make it up to the 45-yard line, a gain of 10, but the Bills will be 3rd and 3. Aaron Sharper makes the tackle.
You can tell this is going to be one of these games here for the Bills where they're going to have to pick their spots. I think Green Bay has come in here and turned the intensity up on them a little bit more than they expected.
Yeah, they brought their defense.
Yeah. Everybody talks about that letdown and all that, and I don't know if they really believe it until game time hits.
Price motions out of the backfield. Johnson dumps it down the field to Remersma. Big play for the Bills, a gain of 23 as Johnson in trouble finds his tight end.
Good adjustment by Johnson. He looked backside. The receiver was covered, and so he finds Remersma. And one thing Remersma said he likes to do is get up the field. He knows he's got man-to-man coverage. Did a nice shake move there on Nate Wayne. Johnson giving a little jump pass there. That's a great move, though, by Remersma. He complained about being in that 2 tight end offense and having to block all the time last week. He said, I want to get up the field.
He did on that for 24 yards as Johnson back to throw again. Nowhere to go with it. Scrambles out to his right now. Dumps it and is caught by Moles. Pressure from Dotson, but Johnson escapes and Buffalo gets another first down.
The only quarterback on this team that has gotten the publicity for a running quarterback or a scrambler is number 7, Flutie. But I think that Rob Johnson is starting to give people something else to worry about. Good job of finding your guy there. I mean, that's tough to do, and a better job by Moles of keeping on the run. Keep moving when your quarterback's moving and work back to him.
8th play of the drive coming up. Reverse, Moles. Got Brown in front of him. Packers sniff it out.
Eric Moles on the reverse.
Nile Diggs wasn't fooled by the reverse.
Bernardo.
Diggs does a good job of staying home. If he doesn't stay backside, you've got big Reuben Brown out there and a couple of linemen. It's going to be a long, long run. He doesn't make the tackle, but he causes the pile.
Bonnie Holiday made that tackle. Gain of 5 on the play, 2nd and 5. Play action. Pressure on Johnson, and he is sacked. It's Nate Wayne. 3rd sack of the day for Green Bay.
Johnson is sacked by number 54, Nate Wayne.
Buffalo trying to run the bootleg out the backside, fake the action, and roll back around this way. He had 2 tight ends open. I don't know why he didn't throw the ball. Looked like he had Remersma. There's Collins there. You can see him. But inside, Remersma's right there. He had him when he first came around the corner.
I think Nate Wayne was on him too quick. He couldn't get it off. Timeout taken on the field. To the Packers, they have 2 left. Buffalo with 3. As you look at the Bills' drive, their 2nd long drive, no points out of that first one. Here they're looking to get points. 3rd and 14 from the Green Bay 25. Nate Wayne was injured on that last play. That's why the Packers weren't charged with the timeout.
Packers showing blitz right here, trying to get Johnson to check out of it, check into something else.
Blitz comes. Sharper.
Hey, they didn't just show it, they brought it. Aaron Sharper getting a little dance on.
4th sack of the day for the Pack.
I think they were so concerned about Leroy Butler in here, they forgot about Sharper on the outside.
And they got to throw hot.
Well, that's the problem here. You know, the Bills had so many problems last week with protection. They just couldn't keep the heat off. And everybody said, well, that's Javon Curse, and you won't see that the next week. Well, that's not true. You're still seeing the same problem. And if Johnson can't get out of the pocket, they're taking the sack.
Huge play for the Packer defense. Knocked the Bills out of field goal range. So Chris Moore Tries to pin it inside the 5, and he does so.
That's huge.
Daryl Porter recovers it, a 34-yard punt. But the Packers have to start from their own 3-yard line. No score here in Buffalo. Having to punt the football.
And Green Bay's backed up right now, but they got to be pretty happy with the way things are going. 0-0 score. Now that is Carl Mock, the Buffalo Bills offensive line coach, of course a former NFL player. As you can see, he's not exactly thrilled with the way the line protected that last play.
He looks just like he did last week. Green. Ooh, almost squirted through up to the 6-yard line. Coward, Holisek, Newman on the tackle.
Sam Coward is all over the field, and if he doesn't make that play, Green may still be running.
8th tackle of the day that Coward's been involved in. Field position battle, which Brett Favre said was very important to his Packers. So far, pretty even on the field position. Nobody's had excellent field position. 2nd and 7 as the crowd comes alive.
It's over, man. It's over. Everybody up. Everybody up.
Green stopped after a gain of 3.
And this is a chance for Buffalo now to flip this game, because you saw there on that play, for the first time the crowd is in it. And that's the difference between last week. You can talk about letdowns for the players and all that. It's hard to keep the kind of emotions they had last week. It's hard for the fans to keep those kind of emotions for the next week.
3rd down and 4. Green cuts it back inside, runs right into Phil Hansen. And the Pack will have to punt again.
And a guy that probably doesn't get a lot of credit for it, but should, the way he plays the run on this Bills defensive line, is number 90, Phil Hansen. You got 3 down linemen in the 34. You can't just be a pure defensive end, a rush upfield defensive end. You got to have a little defensive tackle in you as well. And Hansen's got some of that. You got to be able to play the run as well as the pass.
Buffalo looking at good field position. Bidwell punts from his own 1. Drives Chris Watson back to the Bills' 46-yard line, where he is hit immediately on the play. A 43-yard punt. Nice coverage from the Packers by Allen Rossum. Buffalo will give it another shot. No score. Got Yankee fans in the truck.
There. Yeah, we got some Mets fans. Some Mets fans down in the truck there.
The Mets are on the schneid again in September. 1-7 thus far. Bills 1st and 10 at their own 46. Play action. Johnson throws it outside. Complete to Moulds again. Moulds shakes one man. Eric Moulds' 5th grab of the day. That one good for 24 yards.
Bills been having protection. Backers are going to come right up the hole here. A little bit of a mix-up there. Jamie Nails, somebody's got to slide out and pick this guy up. I think it's him. And then the back's got to pick up the other one. That's Sean Bryson. He doesn't make the adjustment. 2 miscues there, and that's just a fake you out of your jock, see you later type move.
Antoine Edwards leaving Laundry on the field. What a move.
Oh.
1st and 10, Buffalo from the 32 of the Packers. Buffalo with 3 timeouts. Johnson again nowhere to go. Now he dumps it underneath the Price. Peerless Price with room outside, inside the 20, down to the 18. Nate Wayne chased him out of bounds.
And now you see why Green Bay Packers are bringing the blitz, because when they don't blitz, they can't get there. And the yards after the catch are starting to kill the Packers.
Peerless Price, his 2nd grab, 25 yards on the day. And Rob Johnson, 10 of 12 for 162 yards.
I think they got to take a shot at the end zone here once.
Instead, they'll run the ball with Bryson.
Hey, man, it's over. Hey, everybody out.
He'll get a yard.
Bryson, the ball carrier.
Bills content to let the clock run down. They have 3 timeouts. They're going to just try and not allow Green Bay to get the ball back. They want to score and go in at halftime, so they'll let it run.
And 1 on the play.
In spite of getting bounced around. Johnson 10 of 12 for 160. That's pretty darn good, considering that he's had to run for his life half the time.
However, no points to show for it. Johnson throws it in the end zone for Moulds. Knocked away at the last second. A great play by Tyrone Williams.
And there's that shot at the end zone I'm talking about. I think if Johnson throws this ball a little higher, puts some air on it, puts it over Moulds' shoulder, it's an easy one. Look at the separation mode. See, if he puts this ball up here, Moulds had to wait for the ball. That's the problem. He throws the ball where it should be thrown, over his upfield shoulder, his left shoulder. That's a touchdown. Yeah, he has to stop, turn around.
Yeah, and Williams was just fortunate that he knocked that one away. 3rd down and 9. Blitz. Johnson throws it to Price. He's hit, but he gets the 1st down. Coverage by McBride. The Bills going to let the clock run. First and goal from the 6, and now
they got to get the clock stopped.
Rob Johnson decides to take that timeout and gets it with 48 seconds left. Not many points.
That was 11. And they just didn't get after it. And that's the thing they've been talking about all weekend. We got to turn it up, get after it, be aggressive, and go at people.
First and goal from the 6. Johnson over the middle, touchdown, Buffalo. McDaniel.
In the first quarter, Green Bay was doing a good job of keeping the middle of the field shut down. Second quarter here, it hasn't been so.
First touchdown of the career for Jeremy McDaniel. Steve Christie on to attempt the extra point. He has on 142, make it 143 consecutive extra points converted by Christie, and Buffalo draws first blood. They lead 7-0 here with 44 seconds left in the first half. Steve Christie will kick off. Deep to receive for the Pack, Allen Rossum and Gary Perry.
Get out there, 82.
Bills having a problem getting enough people. Kwame Cavill wasn't out there on kickoff coverage. He shows up, and we're back to playing football. A line drive kick, and now the official blows the whistle and stops play. Not late.
But you're supposed to have that right. If you score, you're supposed to be able to celebrate. While somebody else takes your spot.
So the kick comes down now at the 10-yard line. Rossum breaks one tackle. Allen Rossum all the way to midfield before he's forced out of bounds by Antoine Winfield. A 41-yard return for Rossum.
The problem last week was that the kickoff team didn't stay in their lanes. And they almost had another Music City miracle pulled on them at the end of the game. Allen Rossum comes over from Philadelphia. And I got to tell you, I'm not so sure that that's a good move for Philadelphia to let him get out of there, because he's a great return man. They stay in their lanes. They don't wrap up.
Sloppy tackling.
2 missed tackles, another missed tackle there, a nice little chip block. Winfield, the starting cornerback, has to come over and make the touchdown-saving tackle.
And he made that tackle last week against Tennessee against Mason. Favre underneath to Green. And Green is stopped short of a first down, a gain of 9, and the Packers will use their second timeout. They have 1 left remaining. Favre perfect on the day at 7 for 7.
I just remember he took a shot at Freeman up the seam in that last game.
Bills pressing the receivers. Favre tries to throw it inside, and they're throwing the flag.
Wow, that's a late flag.
Looking for Lee. Ken Irvin got in there early.
If they tangle up legs, that's a bad call. If Irvin puts a hand on him, slant route.
They kind of grabbed him around the waist a little bit.
I don't know.
Well, you're a corner. You're an old cornerback.
Yeah, but
so
I'm calling it like I
Pass
see
interference,
it.
29, defense. First down.
See, pass interference is defined as did you impede with the receiver's ability to catch the football. I'm not so sure I saw that there.
Well, they called
His
it on
left
29,
hand.
but it was 27 that was doing it. And I think it's a good call. Barr gets the ball slapped out of his hands by Wiley. Picked up by Hansen. Phil Hansen run out of bounds at the 27.
Marcellus Wiley, the heir apparent to Bruce Smith, working on Mike Wall. He just beats him around the corner, then has the awareness to slap the ball down, and then they get a lucky bounce.
The breadbasket hop to Hansen. This is definitely a fumble as the ball was knocked out of Favre's hands on the backswing, and now the Bills turn this thing around with 11 seconds left. They got another chance to put points on the board.
And they're not thinking about the field goal. They're going to try to, I think they're trying to hurry up and get a playoff.
Yeah, before the review could take place.
Yeah.
And that would have to take place from the officials in the box because we're under 2 minutes here in the first half.
They got time for a shot down the down to the end zone. While here working on the outside. No, his arm's not going forward. That ball is out before it comes forward.
Definitely a fumble, and give Wiley a sack on the play. Johnson taking that shot, looking for Moulds. He just throws it away. Incomplete. 7 seconds left, and the Bills will more than likely go for the field goal, and they do. Steve Christie and company take the field. And he's looking at about a 45-yarder, depending on where they spot it. Christie, the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week last week, making 3 of 4 against Tennessee, and this one will be from 45. And it's right down the middle. And the Bills capitalize on the turnover and add 3 more points, and they take the lead here at halftime, 10-0 over the Green Bay Packers.
Pick up the slack for the lack of protection up front.
Packers kick it off. Watson from his 11. Works his way up to the 35-yard line. The ball comes out at the end of it.
Green Bay is saying they got the ball. No sign by the official yet.
Yeah, the officials aren't buying into it. I believe it's going to be Buffalo ball at the 35.
The runner was down by contact. First down.
Well, that solves that.
Take a look at the end of this. See if Watson did lose the football before he went down. It's hard to see with all the bodies in there. There's the football. He's down. He's actually on top of KD Williams, so that means he's down. So the Bills take it 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Antoine Smith twists his way for 5 yards on 1st down. Let's take a look at Rob Johnson's first half performance.
Well, it's clear they wanted to test out Antoine Edwards right off the bat. And that was just a great catch on Eric Moulds' part. And then he puts the juke move on him. And, you know, they're getting the ball spread around. And that's something that Buffalo talked about. You know, Moulds has been complaining about not being the guy and being taken out of the game, double covered. Well, other people have stepped up, and Rob Johnson's done a good job of getting the other people the football.
Antoine Smith finds room outside, past midfield, up to the Packers' 44-yard line, rips off 15 before Leroy Butler can get him down.
You know, one thing that Bills offensive coordinator Joe Pendry has been known for is a conservative kind of offense, but one that has always had a run game. And he seems to manufacture one. Down in Carolina, you know, he took Anthony Johnson, a guy that nobody really heard of. He had a 1,000-yard year. And he's also been pretty good with young quarterbacks. Had Kerry Collins down there. Ended up taking him to the NFC Championship game, playing, of course, the Green Bay Packers in '96.
There was a nice feature on Kerry Collins in the pregame show as Remersma's open down inside the 20-yard line. Rob Johnson threw a bullet.
That's the advantage of being able to run the ball. Now you make the safety have to come up and play short, look for the run game, and it opens up the middle of the field. Jay Remersma, finally seeing Jay Remersma in this offense getting vertical, getting up the seam. That's where he's worked best.
2 grabs, 50 yards for Remersma. The Bills threatening again. 1st and 10 from the Packer 18.
Packers moving that safety up. Leroy Butler standing right behind the linebackers. And then he moved back out.
Forced Johnson to change the play to a pass. He dumps it out to his full back, H-back, Sheldon Jackson, and Jackson gets a 1st down before Bernardo Harris can lay across him.
Now Green Bay tips their hand too soon. Gave plenty of time for Rob Johnson to check out of that, and then hit yet another tight end. That's Sheldon Jackson. He's more like that H-back tight end. I think he's more tight end than H-back, though.
They list him as H-back, but you're not buying into that.
No, not at 250 pounds. And that's what he's listed. I'll take more like 260.
1st and goal for the Bills at the 6-yard line. This is where they scored their 1st touchdown from. Play action.
There's the tight end.
Johnson dumps it underneath. Touchdown, Remersma.
You gotta like the drive by the Buffalo Bills. Come out in the 2nd half and they answer right away. They reinstate what just happened. Remersma doing a nice job of shaking on the line of scrimmage there. Just kind of threw David Bowens off to the side.
Extra point good from Christie. The Bills extend the lead to 17-0 as Jay Remersma scores his 1st touchdown of the season. Remersma scores the touchdown to put Buffalo up 17-0. Christie kicks it deep. This will be Rossum from 5 yards in the end zone, and he'll stay in. Let's go back to that last touchdown.
In order for this play to work, you got to sell that it's going to be a run. Get all the action this way and hope that you pull the defense on the other side, and they do a good job of that. Even the block by Remersma, he actually blocks, then comes out. Look at all the Packers on that side of the ball. Sharper right there ran into the official. He might have been able to help out, and that really put the corner in a sweat. He doesn't know whether to stay back to cover Mold or come up and attack Remersma.
And I thought it was a good decision by Rob Johnson to make the shorter pass.
Of course it is.
Throw it underneath and let your man work. 1st and 10 from the 20. Favre throws it outside, and this one is caught incomplete to Freeman. Antoine Winfield on the coverage.
The Packers are going to have to now try to force the ball up the field. You're sitting at 17 zip. You've been able to generate no offense, and you don't see them go down the field that much as we look at the 1st half drives by the
or lack of drives.
Lack of drives. It's more like cruises.
Freeman with that grab has 2 on the day. Favre's got to get the ball to him. 1st and 10. Green.
10 minutes over.
Hit and stopped by Sam Rogers.
You know, in this offense, the West Coast, they just want to use enough running to be able to get the pass going. And if they don't get that run going, the pass isn't there, and vice versa. They had a couple good hits early on, but they've never really been able to be consistent with it.
Favre, 3-step, throws the slant to Freeman.
Wow, that's a money play. That's a money play right there.
10 yards on the money.
That's the classic slant. You've seen this in this West Coast offense from Jerry Rice. Robert Brooks used to run it a lot, and there it is. The timing's got to be there. The rhythm of the throw's got to be there. And Antonio Freeman knows he's probably going to get a hit.
Brett Favre 9 for 9 on the day for 78 yards. Play action. Wiley with the pressure. Favre dumps it outside, complete to Green, but Keith Newman was there for the quick hit. Wiley and Hansen had pressure on Favre.
And he wanted to go to the tight end, Bubba Franks, but Bubba Franks got just worked off the line of scrimmage. Actually got held. That was the problem. So now that takes away your first read. He's got to go to his check down. Somebody's waiting for the check down. Newman.
There's Tom Rossley. 2nd and 8. Packers in Bills territory at the 48-yard line. Favre complete to Freeman again. First down, Green Bay. Down to the Bills 32-yard line.
Now, if there's any doubt in Brett Favre's arm, that throw right there takes it away. He throws that ball from across the hash to the other side of the field. Those kind of balls get intercepted. And did a great job of avoiding the rush, too. Comes with the half roll. Nice block there. Trying to see who that was. But look at that throw. Look how long that ball's in the air. Actually, the ball wasn't in the air very long. It was on a rope. That's why it's a great throw. And Freeman doing a good job of going up and snatching it out of the air.
Tight end Tyrone Davis with the block you referred to. Play action again.
There's Free.
Favre pulls it down. Now he throws it up for Henderson. William Henderson inside the 10 down to the 6-yard line. What a throw from Favre.
You can see Brett Favre is in that gunslinger mode now. Said, okay, you know, that run stuff, that's not working. I got to come back and throw. I like that. You see guys always smiling. He's into the game. Freeman drags across the middle. I thought he had him, but then he's got the pressure to pull it down when he sees somebody there on the coverage. Nice catch, nice throw.
Sam Cowart was all over Henderson, but the ball was just dropped in out of the sky.
Boy, that's a nice throw. Even with a tail on it, that's a pretty throw.
Favre now 12 for 12. And he takes the timeout before the play clock expires. And Green Bay will have the ball on the 7-yard line when we come back. More than, or actually surpassed his total passing yards in the first half on this drive alone. He is 12 for 12 on the day, and 3 of his passes have gone to Antonio Freeman for 42 yards in this Packer assault. Pat Williams trying to get the Bills crowd into it. 1st and goal from the 7. Favre to Freeman, touchdown. He just tied Jim Kelly.
And Freeman's going to try to do the lead. I don't think so.
They'll throw him right back out here.
The key difference in this drive and all the other drives is that they came out and they made a concerted effort to get the ball to the money man. And the money man they got on the field right now is Antonio Freeman. The motion keeps the defense from playing bump and run and really makes them pick between which guy to play. That was kind of a pick play on the move. And Brett Favre put it in right when it had to be.
Ryan Longwell converts the extra point, and Brett Favre throws his 237th career touchdown pass, tying him all time with Bills legend Jim Kelly. It's 17-7 Bills. 7 plays, Favre 6 of 6 for 76. Freeman 4 grabs, 49 yards, and the touchdown.
And you know, the big difference this year, they moved Freeman back to that Z position. You know, that's the hot position in the West Coast offense. That's where Jerry Rice has played for all those years. That's the guy who's going to get the rock most of the time.
Short kick. Jonathan Linton handles it. Gets it up past the 30 to the 33-yard line. 18-yard return. We'll go back to that Favre touchdown pass. Any questions about his arms will be answered on this one.
Well, there's no doubt that he's in pain. He said he would be, but in order to make a pass like this, you got to let it go. It's in the perfect spot.
Buffalo takes over first.
Ball is down, and it's away from the defender.
Favre now 13th all-time in NFL touchdown passes. As we said, tied Jim Kelly. Doing it in Kelly's old house. 1st and 10 for the Bills. Antoine Smith for 5 yards on first down.
Antoine Smith's kind of in a fight for that starting running back position. You know, we talked earlier about Sean Bryson. A lot of people think Sean Bryson should be the guy. Antoine Smith, the former first rounder, come up here, had a good first year, then got hurt, kind of tailed off. Really hasn't been the same since.
Smith gained 1,124 yards back in '98, that first year, as the Packers bring the blitz again.
Sharper. Nice play.
He stops.
You know, Darren Sharper finally has a feel for some things. You know, he's been criticized, and rightfully so, for all the missed tackles and the bad angles, and you name it, he's done it. But this is a good job of feeling when to go, and then when you see the gap, now go and make the play. A year ago, Sharper wouldn't have made that play. And a nicely timed call by Ed Donatel, the defensive coordinator.
Brings up 3rd down and 2 for the Bills. Bryson and Morris in the backfield. Morris in motion. Johnson nowhere to go. Avoids Theory. Gets outside. He stops short of the first
late
down.
hit.
Wow. Santana Dotson jumped on him late after Nate Wayne made the stop. And Johnson's slow to get up.
Johnson's real slow to get up. I'm surprised that one didn't get called.
You got Santana Dotson jumping on you. He's a 285-pounder. That's not going to feel good.
You can see Rob's face mask is a little bit closer to his face than it was before. You know, and that's the one criticism of Johnson, is when he gets out of the pocket and there's nothing else to get down. Well, I don't know about that. That came, Santana came with the forearm there.
Brought the chicken bone.
He's lucky he didn't get a flag on that one. That's your guy, Karl Mock. He's letting his feelings be known.
Oh, he's livid. I haven't seen him not livid.
What did Rob Johnson say about that headband? That's just an old piece of towel he tears up.
The T-shirt.
Yeah, he said it's supposed to keep him from getting concussions. He said, I'm a little superstitious. Towel might be tested now. Shit.
Chris Moore on to punt. Rossum will take it from the 17-yard line. Rossum had a 43 last week. He fumbles. Ball's loose. Picked up by the Bills. Ethan Albright, the center, the long snapper for the Bills punt team, comes up with a big play.
That's a huge play. That's not just a big play. That's a huge play.
Well, Rossum is a fumbler. He had 10 fumbles in his 2 years with Philadelphia.
He does take a shot here, and it comes from the backside.
Oh, great play by Jay Foreman.
Jay Foreman came and got it out the backside. Now look at big Ethan. Ethan's having flashbacks to high school days. He didn't just fall on the ball. He picked it up and tried to go with it. Foreman just hits that ball out the backside.
And Rob Johnson shakes off that last hit from Santana Dotson and works his way back into the huddle. First
they got a problem in the huddle. They're not sure what. Well, the play clock hasn't started yet.
Another huge turnover for the Bills. Morris and Bryson in the backfield. Morris stopped by Russell Maryland.
And Vonnie Holliday is rolling around. He made first contact on the play.
And Holliday slow to get up. Back on the 2-yard line, the Buffalo Bills looking to extend their lead. 10 points now over Green Bay. Big turnover on special teams put the Bills in this position. You see the red zone offense. This would be the 4th possession inside here. Bills have already had 2 touchdowns, both of them 6-yard passes. One from Rob Johnson to McDaniel, the other one from Johnson to Remersma. Nowhere to go for Antoine Smith.
Nice hit. Yeah, they came with the same exact play that they ran right before. Needless to say, they were waiting on that one.
And it hurt another Packer.
Edwards is the one that came up and made the initial crack. Remember, Edwards is a safety, backup safety, expected to push Sharper or Butler for that starting position in training camp.
Well, and now he's filling in for McKenzie as a corner today, and if he goes out, that put Todd McBride back in there at corner.
Exactly.
And it really, you have to start shuffling people when you get into your nickel and dime package, because now you're getting a lot thinner there in that defensive backfield. Todd McBride checks in for Antoine Edwards. And it's 3rd and goal for the Buffalo Bills. They're 5 of 9 today on 3rd down conversions. Ball just inside the 3-yard line.
This is a huge play for Green Bay. If they want to stay in this game, they've got to keep Buffalo out of the end zone.
Johnson throws the fade, overthrows, molds, incomplete. Tyrone Williams was right there.
I'm not so sure he didn't do that on purpose.
Well, he had Nate Wayne bearing down on him.
I don't know. It looked like he had Williams beat over here, just going to the corner. You know, we don't know that Rob Johnson is still all there after that hit. They had a sudden change. He had to come back on the field.
Steve Christie back on the field to attempt a 20-yard field goal. And that one is good. And the Buffalo Bills extend their lead. Now it's 20-7 over the Green Bay Packers here in the 3rd quarter.
On the field, people talk about coaches and, you know, programs and who's a genius this and genius that. No genius ever won a Super Bowl without talent.
Rossum downs it in the end zone for the touchback. And talking about them Rams again, I mean, look at the production that they have from these guys. Marshall Faulk, probably the best all-around back in all of football, and Holt and Akeem, Kurt Warner getting it out to him. It's exciting to watch them play football.
And the thing about that is you got to look at Faulk as really a wide receiver, because he can do so many things out there in the field. All these guys can run. And not too many people in the league have 2 good corners that they can lock up man-to-man.
It's like the Bills were offsides on that last kickoff. They'll probably do it again.
That guy's been here a long time.
He never sits down.
I wonder why.
Who said the king was dead? So Steve Christie tees her back up. Buffalo will now have to kick from that 25-yard line. Last time this happened, Alan Rossum put the Packers in excellent field position. He'll try again, this time coming from the 8-yard line. Makes one man miss. And this time he is brought down. Good special teams play by Jay Foreman.
Oh, they got a little action going on. It's always good.
A little extracurricular activity on special teams. As Brett Favre comes back out to the field. 13 of 13 on the day, as you see, is passing by zones, and he's been all over the board.
Yeah, he's been hitting the middle of the field. A lot of that reflects Freeman coming across that middle and getting some stuff on there. But I think he's a gunslinger, and we keep saying that, but he loves I think he likes this situation. Really, I mean, everybody would like to be ahead, but I think Brett Favre doesn't mind being behind, where he's got to drop back and throw the ball and be perfect like he is right there.
Favre pump fakes, now throws it out to Freeman. And Freeman will get 6 yards before he is run out of bounds by Ken Irvin.
One of the things that Tom Rosley, offensive coordinator, is going to do this year, or try to do, is move Antonio Freeman around. Let's face it, the Packers don't have weapons on the field that scare you offensively outside of that guy right there and Antonio Freeman. It's very easy to take things out of the game, to take people out of the game, so they have to move free around.
2nd and 3. Green stopped after a gain of 1 by Cowart and Holisek, the middle linebackers.
We talked about in the open big Ted Washington and Pat Williams sitting at that inside. See, Green Bay not trying to run down the middle of that field. In the first couple series they tried it, and Ted Washington put an end to that. Now everything is on the outsides, the outside edges. And can you blame them?
There's just not enough room in there to run. Herbert Goodman checks into the Packer backfield, lines up behind William Henderson. And Goodman is hit and welcomed to the NFL by Pat Williams.
That's what we talked about, the quickness off the ball of Pat Williams. Very seldom do you see nose tackles that are this quick. Look at that. Marco Rivera couldn't even get over to get a block on it. Boy, I don't know. I kind of question that call against this type of defense that you know can have so much speed on the outside with a 3rd and 1 situation.
Packers not doing very good on 3rd and less than 3. That's the 3rd time they haven't converted.
They didn't block anybody, to put it plain and simple.
Bidwell hangs a high kick. Watson.
That's a clip.
And there is a flag down, as you said, a clip on the 49-yard punt from Bidwell, a 6-yard return by Watson. In what was not bad field position for Buffalo, the penalties against the Bills will become bad field position. A lot of discussion about a clipping penalty.
We have no foul on the play. There was no
That's
block
why.
in the back. Player made the tackle. First down.
Well, here's a discussion for you. Apparently, my partner here, he's not happy with his day job, so he went out in the offseason and got a head coaching job. Ray Bentley, the head coach of the Buffalo Destroyers of the Arena League, right here in Buffalo. And I must say, partner, you did one heck of a job taking those guys from 0 to something.
Well, I'll tell you,
Pretty fired up about it, too.
That's Big David Baker there, the commissioner league. That's as much fun as I've ever had, taking over that football team and going through the things we went through and then winning 5 in a row at the end. It was a special deal.
Hey, man, up easy.
Sean Bryson for a yard off the left side. There's some Destroyer fans.
And, you know, you talk about arena football, and you know, Kurt Warner has done so much for it. I think it has done so much for him because the St. Louis Rams are doing nothing but playing arena football on an NFL
that's the thing.
field.
Warner's still playing arena football, but he's doing it on the big field.
Right. And that's the way the game is played now. Fast, quick, get the ball out of your hands and run.
Johnson doesn't like what he sees, calls a time. Buffalo used that timeout. They have 2 remaining. As you see, the Buccaneers' last good start, 1997. 2nd and 10. Blitz comes from the Packers. Rob Johnson will be sacked. Bernardo Harris.
I got to tell you, if I'm up 20-7, I don't know that I'm going to spread out and keep throwing the football, especially with the trouble in protection you've had. I'm going to try to keep the ball on the ground and run some time off this clock. But Buffalo goes back to what they've been doing, what they haven't been able to do, and that's protect. Green Bay brings the linebackers, and it's the same old story.
Sean Bryson just got
not a good job by Sean Bryson.
6th sack of the day for minus 40 yards.
Here
3rd and 18. Here they come again, and the Bills run a screen. It's intercepted by Holiday.
I don't get the call. Why do that? You're up 20-7. Why take those kind of chances? You know you haven't been able to protect all game long, and Green Bay does exactly what they should have done, come with the heat. It's an 8-gap blitz right up the middle. Here comes both safeties, McGarrahan and Butler. They rush the throw. Not a good decision by Rob Johnson. I know he's under pressure. He doesn't throw it anywhere near Sean Bryson.
That hit Holiday between the 9 and the 0 for his first career interception.
You don't put Brett Favre back on the field, number one, if you don't have to, and you don't put him back on the field close to your goal line when you don't have to.
First and 10, Packers from the Bills 13. Into the end zone, knocked away by Holosek. Tyrone Davis was open. Favre didn't put enough air under it.
He didn't get enough on that. And actually, I'm surprised Holosek didn't intercept that. Right up the seam here. There goes Tyrone Davis. Yeah, he didn't get enough on that ball. Push there by Pat Williams. I think that one's on Brett Favre.
That was the first incompletion of the day for Favre. He had 14 in a row, 4 shy of the Packer record held by Don Makowski and Lynn Dickey. Second and 10. Favre outside, complete to Bubba Franks. Bubba says, give me the bottle. What I mean by that, of course, Bubba, the nickname that Bubba Franks has, he got that from his mother at a very early age. He liked his bottle and he called it the Bubba. And she couldn't get him to do anything unless she said Bubba. And he thought the bottle was around, he'd listen to her.
He said the best thing about working with a guy like Brett Favre is he simplifies the call, the offense. He said when I first got here, they came with these big long terms for the play. Brett would say, hey, just run out to the flat and stop. I'll throw you the ball.
Packers just 1 of 6 in third down conversions. Favre into the end zone. Looking for Franks, overthrows.
Great coverage in the end zone. And they matched up across the board. And that's one thing that the Buffalo Bills can do. They have the corners to do it. Freeman, how do you handle him? Man-to-man coverage. Now, there was a little pull there. He got away with that one. Antoine Winfield working on Schrader. Nothing. Nothing. Everybody's in pocket. Tyrone Davis.
And then Henry Jones all over the tight end, and it's a 24-yard field goal by Ryan Longwell. It's good, so the Packers do come up with points after the Vonnie Holiday interception, and they could put on the Cowboys on opening day.
Well, maybe Dallas isn't quite as good as everybody thinks.
So the Packers close the gap to 10. Longwell will kick it to Watson, who comes up and catches it on the run at the 11. Watson with a seam, look out. All the way up to the 46-yard line by Chris Watson. 36-yard return. Tyrone Williams finally got him down.
Watson made a good effort just to catch that ball.
Johnson, excuse me. First and 10, Bills excellent field position. Bryson, 9 yards off to the left side. Good block by Eric Moles.
That doesn't surprise me, and that's what I was talking about earlier.
Pitts here at Ralph Wilson Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. Welcome you to the fourth quarter. You see the score by quarters, evenly matched in the third, 10 points apiece. Buffalo with a 2nd and 1 at the Packer 44. Corner blitz. That corner made the tackle on Bryson. McBride on the blitz. He's still in the ball game. Antoine Edwards, with that leg injury earlier, hasn't come back.
No, that's another reason why Green Bay has gone ahead and just blitzed. I think they're in a bind as far as the amount of DBs in the game, healthy DBs in the game, when they go in their nickel package.
Johnson dumps it out, and it's dropped by Sheldon Jackson.
That's a nasty drop there, Sheldon Jackson. I mean, he's got that ball.
Rob Johnson, 15 of 22, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Second down and 10. Packers showing blitz again. Here they come. Bryson makes one man miss and now works his way up to the 40-yard line. A gain of 1 as Theory and Maryland make the tackle.
Boy, Ray, you think about what's all the drama going on back in Green Bay. I mean, it's enough for them to come here and have to get a win here today after starting off with a loss, but going to have the big vote on the referendum on Tuesday. Funding concerning improvements.
Looking at a half-cent sales tax. In fact, it's Bob Harlan, who has been the president of the Packers since 1989. This is the first game he's missed since '89 because he's back home trying to get people to vote for that referendum as Moles gets a first down for Buffalo. Gary Berry couldn't hang on to him.
Yeah, they even had Brett Favre at a high school football game shaking hands. I said, Brett, what was up with that? He said, hey, we're trying to do whatever we can to get this thing back. Frankly, I just have a hard time believing that's even an issue in a place like Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
we're talking about something that ends up being per person, what, $46 a year?
Right, 13 cents a day, $46 a year is what it will cost the average person to renovate that Lambeau Stadium, Lambeau Field. Tyrone Williams with the tackle on the corner blitz. And you know, the other thing that the Packers are trying to sell is the fact that the impact that the Packers have on the economy in that community. And they say the trade-off is going to be well in the favor.
More jobs, just the construction alone, the jobs that'll bring in, the amount of concessions, and just overall revenue that'll generate. It's hard to believe that a franchise with that kind of tradition and history, I know I've lived there for a while, my father played there, can have that kind of issue.
Molds again breaks the tackle. Santana Dotson catches him from behind. It'll bring up at 3rd down and 6 now.
I still go back to one thing, Ray. I think unfortunately it's about winning and losing. You're not gonna convince me that in '96, when this team was headed to the Super Bowl and having a great year, if this thing would have come up, that it would have had that kind of trouble.
With that last grab, Eric Mold, 7 catches, 103 yards, 8th time in his career he has over 100 yards receiving. Johnson knocked away by McBride, all over Peerless Price, and now the flag is down on the field. It came out late.
There's one where it looked like McBride hung on him. You know, McBride is out there. He's kind of tender right now. He got toasted up at the end of that game.
Pass interference, 27, defense.
Well, he's in there because Antoine Edwards out with a leg injury. He will not return.
Just a quick slant. McBride took the outside move, and yeah, he's all over him. They got a lot of faith in Todd McBride, and he's a big, tall corner, 6'1", 200-some pounds, but he still has to get a feel for playing that position.
Yeah, he's played both.
Yeah, well, in this league, he's got to get a feel for playing corner.
First penalty of the day there for the Packers, who had 10 last week. They cleaned that one up. Rob Johnson to the end zone. Remersma catches it. Touchdown.
Well, we questioned for a while if Rob Johnson shook off that hit. And it's all day long. It's been his ability to move around in the pocket and find people. That ball's in the air a long time.
You see Remersma stick it over the goal line there?
Right. That's a case where the ball just has to be across the line. The ball just has to penetrate the goal line. Nothing, no parts of his body are out of bounds. And if that ball reaches over the plane, it's a touchdown.
And it can be outside the pylon and still be over the plane and be a touchdown.
He can stand in bounds and reach out on the out of bounds and reach over and cross.
The question is, were both feet still in when he reaches?
I think they are.
It's tight. You might see a replay on this. And of course, the Packers would have to request that and haven't done so as of yet.
Looking at that again, I don't know.
And now they won't, as Christie tacks on the extra point. And Buffalo, with Remersma's second touchdown grab of the day, goes up 27-10 over Green Bay with 11:45 left in the ball game. Remersma, his second 2-touchdown game. Excuse me, Jay Remersma. Rawson. I've got bread on the brain today. I'm looking for a bread. Let's go back to that touchdown, Ron. You made a good point as far as Remersma just getting the ball over before he steps out of bounds.
Yeah, he's established in bounds. You can see his feet right there. Okay, he's got possession. He's established that. All he has to do is put that ball across the goal line. You know, his feet don't have to be on the ground. He's already established that.
Right.
As long as that ball in his possession, which we know it is, goes across that goal line, it's a touch. It would be like a guy taking a handoff and diving over the pile into the end zone. His feet aren't on the ground, but as that ball crosses the plane, it's a touchdown. Good awareness by Remersma.
That would be Jay
Remersma. Well, you're thinking about Brad Johnson in Washington,
I don't know,
who had a nice start last week.
Well,
and you know, Washington might be on a roll.
Yeah, coming up, they're going to play Detroit here later on. Some of you may see that. It's part of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader as Brett Favre goes back to work. Nowhere to go with it. He's going to be sacked out of bounds by Phil Hansen. Here you go. There it is. Washington against Detroit. Coming up, game 2 of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. Many of you will see that. Some other excellent games, good games across the board here today. And it's something new for those of you in Buffalo. You're not accustomed to seeing that doubleheader when the Bills have a home game. Well, they've changed that rule. You'll be able to go home and check out a second game.
So Pat Williams, knock him back, Pat. That's what Ted Cottrell, the Bills defensive coordinator, calls him. He said, Pat, just get in there and knock him back.
Favre going deep.
He's got free.
Wow. Just overthrown, looking for Antonio Freeman. Porter was in Freeman's hip pocket.
I just think there's a lot of pressure on Brett Favre to make this offense go, and that's nothing new for him. He got a good taste of that last year. But he's clearly trying to go to a guy, and there's all kind of coverage around him that everybody knows is going to get the ball. There's no other receivers on the field that really scare you, that make you say, hey, we got to watch this guy. And Green Bay's always had that in the past. In the past couple of years, they haven't had that.
3rd and 19. Freeman in the slot.
Boom.
Favre dumps it out to Henderson. Henderson hit by Sam Cowart.
Sam Cowart not around the football enough. That guy is everywhere. Perfect look. Here's Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator. He says, I demand 3 things from my guy: to play aware, play hard, and execute. And that means everybody's got to know where they fit. That's a good fit right there.
Yeah, very good fit.
What did Cowart say about having Pat Williams and Ted Washington up in front of him? He said, yeah, it's good, but I make less tackles. I don't necessarily like those guys.
Well, he's made 11 today as Watson makes the fair catch at the 46. 259 yards, 3 touchdowns, the 1 interception, and all that despite being sacked 5 times.
You usually don't see that stat together with numbers like that. It's 5 sacks. He's just having a career day.
Antoine Smith in the backfield. And Smith tries to cut back. Nothing there. Let's take a look at those 3 touchdowns by Rob Johnson. First one to McDaniel, the next 2 to Remersma.
You know, sometimes what a quarterback does that people don't start off liking gets good to you, and it becomes what his thing is. And for Rob Johnson, I think the running around, moving around, getting out of the pocket, that's what he does well. And he throws on the run fairly well. The whole thing is for them to protect him enough so that he doesn't take the direct shots like he took last week against Tennessee.
Bryson Stopped for a gain of 1, and right now let's go to our Fox NFL studios in LA. Here's JB.
Hey, Ray and Ron, Mel, this is classic Mike All-Star. Take a look at this 20-yard run to the pay dirt. Look at the tackles that he's breaking. Big fella moving strong as he takes it in. Tampa Bay, if this holds, it will be the biggest blowout in team history. 41-0. Back to Ray and Ron.
We had Tampa last week in New England. The offense was dormant. Looks like they've woken up.
Yeah, and I think Chicago's got a few more problems than they think. That was a great run and some bad tackling.
Back here, 3rd and 7 for the Bills. Johnson in the shotgun, looking at the blitz. It's picked up. He goes downfield for Moulds. Moulds gets it knocked away. A nice play by Tyrone Williams.
Yeah, Tyrone Williams has really held up his side for the most part. Yeah, they haven't made a living going over there on Tyrone Williams. Bump and run coverage. Moulds comes up to the ball. He's got great awareness in the air, but this is why you never give up when the ball's been caught on you as a defensive back. The play is never over until you're standing in the huddle for the next play.
Chris Moore will come on to punt. 8:48 left in the contest. Back return is Allen Ross, almost blocked. Big pressure from Niall Diggs, and Rossum makes the fair catch at the 11-yard line, a 39-yard punt. James Cameron, the director of The Terminator, brings you his new series, Dark Angel. The 2-hour premiere kicks off on Tuesday, October 3rd at 8 Central here on Fox. Cameron, also the director of Titanic.
I get to see Mr. Murdoch.
And off to sea we go as the Green Bay Packers start at 1st and 10 at their own 11-yard line.
And one thing you notice about this Green Bay Packer offense is that there's really no West Coast guru in it anymore. When Mike Holmgren was here, he was it. And then Sherman Lewis was the guru.
I think Brett Favre is
the guy with the most experience in the offense.
And he dumps it underneath the Henderson. Henderson hit by Newman and Holisek, a gain of 5.
And I really think that shows in the numbers when you look at it. You know, the completion coming into today, you can see that speaks for itself under Holmgren, without Holmgren. Waiting right here, touchdown interception ratio is huge. And I know there's a difference in years and games, but the ratio speaks for itself.
Pressure on Favre, he'll be sacked. It's Ted Washington. 3rd sack of the day for the Bills.
I guess it would be an understatement to say that when Ted Washington and Pat Williams are in the game that the field slants in their favor. I think it does literally. And what's unusual about Ted Washington at that size, let's just call it 370 for right now, he's very quick and he can get up the field. And a 34 defense has to have that guy that could control the gaps, control the bubble areas in there where teams try to run the football, but then could get some kind of pass rush on passing downs.
The Bills have 2 of those guys in Washington and Williams. 3rd and long. Favre, pump fakes. Now he throws it over the middle late, looking for Schrader, incomplete. Carpenter with excellent coverage.
You know what you never see is all the action after the throw has been made. You know, quarterbacks don't always get taken down, but Wiley was all over Brett Favre at the end of that play. And don't think these guys don't have a lot of respect for Brett Favre. And not every quarterback in the NFL gets held up like that.
Flowers and Wiley held him up. 4th down, Packers will punt from the end zone. Bidwell hangs it to Watson, who makes that fair catch at the 46-yard line. A 46-yard punt, no return. And the Bills, with a commanding lead with 7:21 left, have the catches for 46 yards. This week, you see the numbers 7 for 103, and they wanted to get him involved, and they did so.
Yeah, didn't have any catches last week until the 4th quarter. He wanted to get involved. He was pretty frustrated after that game.
And more so about the lack of offensive production than really his own part in it.
Yeah,
Bryson takes it outside for a couple. Coming up in this Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader, you will see Stephen Davis and his Washington Redskins go to Detroit to take on James Stewart and the Lions. The Skins have won 16 of the last 17 in this series. They also beat the Lions in the NFC wildcard game last year. Should be an excellent one in the Silver Dome. See the rest of the games coming up. That's going to be a good one. And you see Bruce Smith, who signed with Washington. You see his production in that opening day win over Carolina. And then Mark Currier suspended by this game. You heard talk about him in the pregame show today as Antoine Smith is tackled for a loss by Sharper.
And I have to say, I agree 100% with everything Chris Collingsworth said. You know, and I think I also agree with Howie Long, the point he made about you have to have an intimidating force in the middle of your field. You have to have a guy back there who will make people think twice about running across that middle and know that they're going to pay a price. To me, the hits to the helmets and the fines and suspensions that have been handed out are just a little too much. The game isn't quite that simple and quite that sanitized. That's part of football, as I know.
Third and 11, Bryson stopped short of midfield. The Bills will have to punt again. And I have to agree with you. A lot of times that ball's up in the air, and a safety in there is going up to meet the ball, and the receiver's coming up to meet the ball, and that's what happens. They meet head to head.
Well, and they make it seem like the receiver is they say he's a defenseless player. Well, he's not going in there, you know, to help you make your mortgage payment. He's going in there to make a great catch, beat you, and then spike the ball in your face at the end. And I think it works both ways. Now, why is it okay for a fullback to put his head right in your chest as a linebacker?
Never like that. Moore. High punt. Fair catch signal for and made by Rossum at the 20-yard line.
Last for so long, you need a supporting cast. And until Green Bay gets Dorsey Levens back, maybe a Corey Bradford, they're not going to have that cast.
Farr throws it down the middle to Davis's tight end. Cowart breaks it up.
And next week, hopefully, he gets Dorsey Levens back. Do you know what you like about Favre? He comes in the meeting room, and you know the guy's hurting. You know he didn't like the way things went last week, but he's always smiles. He's always enjoying the game. It's fun to him. What did he say about success last night? He said success ruins teams. He said it really does, because that's the point where you're happy and you've got everything, and now you've got to retool and realign yourself.
He was talking about the Packers Super Bowl team, the one that won the Super Bowl, and how none of the coaches are around from that previous team. And I believe, what did he say, 6 players are still here, and that wasn't that long ago.
96. There is not one coach on the staff, the immediate coaching staff, we should say, that's still there from that team. That's unbelievable. And people want to know why it's so hard to win, or why the Packers are having problems here and there offensively. You can't do it, and that's why I brought up the thing about the offensive guru. You know, this offense is something that takes a lot of work, and it's very detailed.
3rd and 2, big hit from Irvin, knocks the ball loose, looking for Charles Lee. And you got to think the Packers have to go for it here on 4th and 2.
A nice job of going to the collision point.
That's how you play a slant route.
That's
right
how you
there.
play the slant route. That's a great job by Irvin. 4th and 2, and of course it's go time.
Favre dumps it out to Green out of the backfield. 1st down, Packers. Brett Favre took another shot. Playing down there next to Mike Wall, his left tackle.
Yeah, what he said was success can ruin a team. And he's right. If you don't have the same pieces in place the year after your success to keep you focused and to keep you in line, it can ruin it.
When Favre's getting hit by everybody, his own guy got it. Friendly fire. Mike Wall with the pressure. Draw. Green.
Green comes the middle.
8 yards on the play.
Phil Hansen.
Phil Hansen makes that tackle.
I like what Brett said about the Super Bowls. So, you know, I'm still as hungry as ever, but I do reflect back on that. And as hard as it is to get back into that game now, it means more to you every year.
The other thing he said is, you know, people say, oh, he's old, he's washed up. He's only 30 years old.
That's right. You forget that. If Brett Favre is only 30 years old, he's been starting 9 years. Wow.
Freeman makes his 6th grab of the game for 63 yards now. The Packers go into the no huddle mode.
And you see Brett, he just looked at his wristband. He's got the wristband there for 2 minutes in a no huddle situation. Kind of speed up the play calling.
Overshoots, looking for Freeman, who is facing double coverage.
I think Mike Sherman, the head coach, had a lot of positive things to say about the direction he was taking this team. And the first issues that had to be addressed, of course, were discipline. He said, NFL players are like kids. If you say you can watch TV all night, they'll stay and watch TV all night. He made it clear that coming in here, some rules had to be laid down to get the discipline thing in order. I think he's right. I think a lot of the veteran players agreed with him.
He said the players like that, and I agree with him. I mean, you got to have structure and expectations. So there's a flag down.
Prior to the snap, false start, 6 offense, 5 yards, still down.
Well, now that you're Coach Bentley, what did you do when you took over the team? How many fines did you hand out?
Well, there wasn't even a fine system in place. That's one of the first things I put in place. And the thing that needed to be addressed really is the attitude of the players and how much they're willing to give. And to me, you have to give it all. Yeah, and I had a coach here in Buffalo that told me that Walt Corey would say, in order to get anything back, you have to give it all away. And I think I finally understood what he was saying about that when I became a coach. As Davis catches it, gets a first down, fumbled. Henry Jones. Third takeaway of the day for the Bills.
Well, Mike Sherman said they spent a lot of time on the jugs machines trying to correct those drop passes against Tennessee. The guys are just straight up tired of hearing that the defense is carrying them.
Bills offense, 309 yards on the day, 27 points. That's a lot better production. Bryson hit by Bernardo Harris, and he'll lose a couple yards.
It's a funny kind of game today because Buffalo's had the great numbers offensively and Rob Johnson has gotten his, but Green Bay has made some plays. They've gone. You know, my big question about your fine that you handed out, where'd the fine money go?
It went
to the Bentley collection?
No,
the Bentley Private Reserve?
It went to local kids here in Western New York who are in school.
Good.
Mark Hamister, the owner of the Buffalo Destroyers, set up the foundation, and it went to a good cause. And I actually fined myself several times.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Why not? Give yourself the game ball, fine yourself?
Yeah, do it all. Nowhere to go on that one for Antoine Smith.
But you know, Buffalo can't get a false security out of this game. They still have major protection problems.
3rd and 14 for the Bills. Johnson scrambles and now takes the slide. I believe he did stay in bounds. Now they're going to say he didn't. They're going to stop the clock. Actually, Manning lead look to go 2-0. You see the upcoming games. They start to go into the division after this one.
Yeah, and that's why they wanted so desperately to grab 2 right off the bat, so they can go in that division there with some confidence. And referring back to the vote back in Green Bay taking place on Tuesday.
See the Packers' upcoming games. Philadelphia, who was manhandled by the Giants today, and then it's Arizona, Chicago, Detroit, and San Francisco. Some winnable games there for the Packers.
Yeah, but a huge game for them now next week. Having to go on the road to play Arizona, they've got to try to get one before they head to that road.
Chris Moore, high kick. Takes a Bills bounce, but this will be a touchback.
Nah, doesn't matter.
No.
He was already in the end zone.
Daryl Porter already had established himself in the end zone when he touched it. Alex Van Pelt came in and did a wonderful job at the end of last week's win against Tennessee. So the Bills quarterback situation pretty good. Favre throws it outside to Lee. Lee gets the first down and gets out of bounds to stop the clock with 1 minute and 40 seconds left. The Bills are going to give that to Green Bay right now.
Isn't it amazing the depth of anger that the Bills had toward Tennessee? I mean, you can understand it, but the coaches were really concerned that they spent a little bit too much time focusing on just getting back at Tennessee. This is a 16-game week, 16-game season right here.
And they worried about a letdown today, but Bills came to play. This one dropped by the tight end Davis.
And I got to tell you, I really believe they started out not in a letdown, but clearly the emotions weren't the same, and they couldn't be the same. You just can't have that kind of atmosphere. It was like a championship game here last week.
Yeah, it was fever pitch, and
it's crazy.
It's hard to get to fever pitch week in and week out. But what you have to do is just bring enough of that to get it done. Defense carried the day for the Bills early, providing field position for the first touchdown and forcing the fumble by Favre just prior to halftime to go in with a 10-0 lead as Favre throws it outside for Schrader, incomplete. Brett Favre, who hit on his first 14 passes, is just 7 of his last 16. There's a nice hat.
That's rather colorful.
Or off color.
You see a lot of things here in Buffalo, New York.
Third down and 10. Favre, pressure from Williams. And Williams runs him down, forces him out of bounds. Another sack for Williams.
You know, Pat Williams is one of those guys. He's a free agent. Actually was coached by Mike Sherman, head coach of the Packers, at Texas A&M.
And that's, I tell you, when we talked to all the Packers, the one thing they kept referring to was Ted Washington and Pat Williams, and how it's just unfair with those guys in the defensive line.
Right, and what did Brett say? He said Pat Williams, who is this guy?
Where'd he come from?
Free agent, signed him for a $15,000 signing bonus, and they re-signed him here lately.
This ball
much
is
more.
Caught by Donald Driver, and Driver still running, gets it up to the 30-yard line before he runs out of bounds. A first down with 1 minute and 11 left, 50 yards on the play.
Number 80, Donald Driver.
Well, you have to go back and say, when you got Brett Favre throwing the ball, the game is never over until it's over.
First catch of the year for Driver.
This is just sloppiness on the Bills' part. Nobody wrapping up, making a tackle. A nice run by Driver.
Second-year man out of Alcorn State. Caught 3 balls last year. Dumps it off outside, finds Driver again.
You know, Driver was in the debate there with Charles Lee over that starting position as a third wideout. A lot of people thought Driver should have been given the gig. He thought so. They gave it to Lee. Lee went out last week and didn't have a good outing.
Lee with 3 grabs for 30 yards today. This one incomplete, looking for Schrader.
Well, Schrader, you know what Schrader is. He's a fast guy that can go down the field, but I'm not sure he's got a role in this offense yet. You know, there was a time a few years ago where you saw him start to develop into something, and they started to push the ball to him up the field, and there was a time for him when there was double coverage in other areas, but I think that goes back to, like I said, not having a lot of weapons on the field.
Schrader actually had a pretty good year last year, but I know what you're saying about that spot. As Favre looks into the end zone, touchdown Freeman.
And there's a guy you know about his spot. Mike Sherman will go for 2 here. You know what I'm saying? You expected that next step for Schrader, and it just never seemed to really.
I don't see a mathematical reason to go for 2.
He held up 2 fingers. I don't know.
Yeah, 2 would get you to 18, and you're still down by 9. But they're going to go for it anyway. Just putting my head coaching hat on.
I know.
Get another rep. On the bounce, Davis catches it, and they get the 2. It was off Amon Green. That's who it was intended for. Bounced into the hands of Davis. There's a touchdown, an 18-yarder. Freeman's second of the game.
Yeah, they ran a nice little pick play there. Donald Driver put an elbow in Antoine. Put an elbow in Antoine Winfield. And sometimes you get away with those. Like you said, Ray, the bottom line, you're getting ready to see a nice little onside kick here. Just so everybody knows, 10 yards. The receiving team can recover the ball before 10 yards. The kick team cannot. If that happens, we'll explain all that.
So Longwell tries to pop it up. This is recovered by the receiving team, Henry Jones, and he'll just take a knee, and the Bills ice it away. The Bills, with no timeouts left for the Packers, need to snap it once, and this will be over. Buffalo will go to 2-0. The Packers will fall to 0-2. Johnson takes the knee, and might cost him his rushing leadership for the game. So the clock rolls down. It is a final. In fact, the Buffalo